here and give it a second to jump up. I've got my merch right here, ready to push that agenda. So first of all, I'd like to welcome everyone that's here for our audiovisual conference, and I appreciate all of the travel and every sacrifice that you've made to get out of school or get out of other work to be here with us. As a school teacher, I know sometimes I don't like to be out of the classroom because I feel like I get behind. But neither here nor there, you're here and we're ready to rock and roll. My name is Joe Roberts. Alongside me, Richard Ewing, and we are over the Liberty High School AV department, which we started from ground zero 3 years ago. Yep. Just coming out of the pandemic, trying to figure out a way to service our students and all the needs of our community, especially in light of the fact that our local radio station decided to shutter their doors after 40 or 50 years of service. And so there wasn't a mechanism, there wasn't the ability to get information out for our community, and we wanted to have that ability to help them out. Plus, we love video. So Mr. Ewing was gracious enough to come across the river and through the woods from Dayton to come over here with me. He has an extensive background in the live streaming business, not to mention the fact that he is our MacGyver and can make anything that we need. For the most part, everything that you see here, the trailer that we're going to look at later on today, all of our goodies, he probably has either made it or modified it. And then for my part of the equation, I had a background with the radio station. I was doing play-by-play for the local football games, and then I had a professional photography company and a videography company, so I did a lot of the Adobe Photoshop, Lightroom, all of that Adobe Suite business, so it was just kind of a match made in heaven for us. I have, and Eddie, if you want to take this and go hand these out amongst our guests here. And again, I want to welcome all those that are with us online. There's several people that are there. And before I go too much further, all of this stuff is going to live on our Panther Sports Network YouTube channel. So you can go back and watch this ad nauseum or whatever you need to do. So this is just sort of a schedule of events. But being as how this is really the first time that we've done this, I'm excited because I think we have a real wealth of knowledge both online and then sitting with us in our audience. I'm going to follow this agenda with my air bunnies, and then we can adjust as Eddie in the back. We can adjust as need be. So really the focus of this first little portion, this first little session, is why the live stream. And I hit on my why a little bit earlier, and I really want to kind of discuss this a bit. Now, I do apologize. It seems like no matter what we do, every time we live stream, there's always some kind of issue that we have to overcome, and that's why we got started a little bit late. Everything works beautifully until it's game time, and then nothing works beautifully at all. We've got our little gremlins here, so we had to transition from our Canon cameras to all PTZ, and those are wonderful cameras. They're wonderful options. Unfortunately, the audio portion of that is not super wonderful because they don't have an audio portion, at least that we use anyway. And so we had to kind of improvise, adapt, and overcome with the lavalier mics going into a different mix, and this is what the third solution that we came up with in 20 minutes. So.
Yeah, I plan to have a. Well, actually, I guess I can take this guy off, and Eddie, if you want to take it out to the audience, kind of get everybody find out what they're from, where their background is.
Yeah. And I'd like to introduce some of our student workers. Eduardo Mata right here is our senior, and he has been with me in whatever programs that we've been doing since he was a 6th grader. And he is, gosh, this guy, he's like my right-hand man. I can't function without Eduardo at all. He sets up everything. He runs generally the student crew and gets them in place. And he started out on a camera and then has moved to what we're calling our student producer. And so he takes care of all of the ins and outs. And then every time Mr. Ewing and I get somewhere and we start getting flustered and frustrated, he's there say, "It's okay, Coach, I got this." And then he goes and fixes whatever needs to be fixed. So I appreciate that, and I'm going to absolutely hate losing him. But wink, wink, any of you guys out in that audience that are with the college programs, this guy is the guy for you. I'm looking at you in the back. And again, I want to thank our friends from Lamar showing up here today. It's amazing. You can sit down. We'll use this PTZ camera to come back at you guys here.
I'm Pam Dixon. I teach video production, broadcast journalism at Sulphur High School, which is just outside of Lake Charles, Louisiana. And I've been doing that for about 15 years now.
I knew I felt hungry when you came through. They got that Cajun business over there. I could smell the roux, I guess.
Hi, Amber Passini from Clear Creek ISD. I've been in live production for 20 years, in the classroom for 9, and transitioned to administration. I run our football stadium, robotics event center, and I work freelance for Texans, Rodeo, Rockets, and U of H, Rice, anything else around the Houston area. Excited to be here with you guys today.
And a partridge in a pear tree. Okay, that's awesome.
Laura Abear, Hardin ISD, and I am a newbie. I transferred from math. I've only been doing this for a few years, and I've only been doing the AV Tech in its principal's class for a couple of years, and they want us to kind of get us set up, a basic setup going at school, so that's my job.
Kelvin Carmier from Beaumont ISD. I teach the Audio Video 2 and Audio Video Practicum course at our Career Center.
Hampton Fox, Alvin High School. I teach AV production, practicum AV, graphic design, and my background is live sports production, about 15 to 20 years.
And you have the best sports name ever. I think I would tune in just because of your name.
Well, when I worked for Fox, I came in one day, some guy was sitting in my chair, and I told him to get up, and he goes, "Is your name on it?" I go,
That's awesome.
Galen Douglas, Beaumont ISD, Beaumont United High School. I teach the principal's class in Audio Video Production 1, and this is my 12th year teaching it.
Awesome.
Joshua Lamb, Beaumont Independent School District. I'm at Westbrook. This is my second year teaching. I teach the AV1 class and the principal's class. And my background is I've been doing live streaming since like 2019. But not as in depth as some of y'all though.
All right, while he's transitioning, I want to welcome some of our people that are online. We've got Chuck Perkins from Tioga High School in Louisiana, and we've got Craig Akers from West Washington in Indiana. Wait, you know what? Chuck Perkins is in Louisiana and Indiana. Well, that's going to confuse the heck out of me. Yeah, Craig is in Indiana, and Chuck is in Louisiana. And then, oh, I'm sorry, the Louisiana school is Tioga. Did I say that correctly? Okay, all right. And then we also have, wait, no, that's it. All right, so those are the two that have checked in. So again, if you're online and you want to check in, I'll give you a shout out.
I am Jordan Burns. I'm from Springfield, Missouri. I'm the state Missouri, because apparently there's a Missouri City around here. And I do all of our live sports streaming for our school, and been doing this this is my 9th year teaching, but done the program for 4 years.
Yeah, welcome to Texas, and I think you might have brought some of that nasty cold weather with you, man.
Yeah, I'm Kelvin Kelm. I'm a freelancer. I've been doing live streaming for a little over 10 years. I mainly do water ski tournaments and also some high school football. Haven't done much in the last couple of years, but looking to try to get back into it.
Well, you come here at the right time, and water skiing and high school football may be the same sport.
Hi, I'm Chris Rayburn. I work at Dayton ISD. That's the town y'all probably drove through to get here. I'm in my 15th year of teaching, second year of doing AV production. I teach the principal's class, advanced class, and practicum. We do live streaming of football. We do home games. We also have an away game team. We do some basketball, some volleyball, some soccer. This year will be the first time we've done any softball or baseball. What else was there? Is that it? Good for me.
Hi, my name is John Barton. I'm probably the odd one here. I teach middle school theater, but this year I started a film club. I've been doing videography the past couple of years, filming football games and things like that. This year I started a film club with a handful of students, and we're live streaming. Basketball games. We did concerts, band concert, choir concert. About to do a science fair coming up next week. So I'm just trying to get my kids involved on the middle school level.
My name is Gordon Williams. I work at Lamar University Television, manage the studio there. I'm an independent filmmaker, writer, producer, director, and I've also had experience working with ESPN3 for football and basketball at Lamar.
And by the way, if you are in the area, some of our friends from Louisiana, if you ever get a chance to go to Lamar and check out Gordon's setup, it is pretty special. He was so gracious to host us last year, brought a group of kids down there, and they've got a great setup in there. And so I appreciate you so much for showing up today, Gordon. We have a cheesehead with us in the house as well. Got a Wisconsinite. I hope I said that right. And that is Kurt, and I'm going to butcher this name, Kurt Baraboo from the Thunderbirds, and he's representing the Game Night Productions, and again, he's out of Wisconsin. So we've got a wide variety of folks, and John, you are not the oddball in here. You are currently sitting in my LHS Black Box Theater, so I run the theater program here for the district as well. So anytime they find that people are good at stuff, they're like, "Oh, you're good at this? I bet you'll be good at this too." So it's always a wonderful thing. So again, I love that you guys are here with us, and I'm glad that if we were going to have a problem with a session, it was this session, because this will probably be the shortest session of all. I want to jump back to the. All right, go ahead.
I didn't turn that back on. You guys didn't miss anything online. I was just talking about the Facebook group. Obviously, that's how you found us. It's a lot of eyeballs, a lot of people with ideas. That I know Amber's commented from we had a thing going on about a Steadicam, and she had some input. Now somebody else has commented. Joe saw someone who, the pylon. We was interested in the first down pylon and how to build something like that. Just so many people on there. It's a great opportunity to collaborate with each other. And I'm really glad that you guys got to come down. Hopefully your flight wasn't too bad and you found Liberty okay. But so many different levels, different input. And I think all of us are here, even the professionals, are really here for these guys standing behind me. That's what we want to do. We want to produce quality young adults that can get in the professional world and do what needs to be done. Gordon can probably tell you, and people who've worked with professionals, a lot of times it's hard to find good help. We say that, and these guys, they probably get yelled at a lot because of the time sensitive, and he says things in Spanish I don't know. It's probably bad, but but that's why we're here. That's why Gordon's program at Lamar is to get the students in, and the ultimate result is to get them a job. Whether they need to go to college or technical school or come to work for one of you guys, that's what we're here for. We do have a presentation. We presented this past summer at the CTAC conference in Dallas, and it hits most of the main things that we're here for in this first session, which is, why live stream. And I'll see if I can bring it up in the overlay here. I'll click through that, and we want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know Gordon has to leave early, so
Well, that's why I brought Gordon
wanna
up
go
here. I
ahead
wanted to
and
ask him a couple of
ask him a couple
questions,
questions.
beforehand while we're going through this, particularly about our. I'll just pass this back and forth between the two of us.
yeah, I apologize for the audio. Obviously, that didn't work like it was supposed to today.
So, man, I feel like a 2003 YouTube vlogger right now. All right, so Gordon, on the course of this, and I've got my little deal down here, the first thing that we're going to talk about is community involvement, and of course, working for a college, you're the ultimate community involvement because most cities that have a college are kind of tied to the identity of that college. So as far as community involvement goes, how do you get the community of Beaumont involved with the program that you're doing? And I know you guys have the ESPN partnership and all that business, but beyond that, what do you do for the community that someone else in the area cannot do for them?
Well, I think it all starts with the students, especially if they're in a small radius to the university. For example, we want to tell stories about Southeast Texas. So if we have a student from Liberty, we want them to go to Liberty and tell the stories that are going on there. You bring those back to Lamar, we put that on our program or on our social media, and that extends the reach of our brand as a university, but also the department. And also we're telling stories that matter to that individual community. And I feel like it's very important for high school students to see that there are possibilities in college doing this, especially in this area, because we're dealing in an industry to where a lot of people feel like you can't do this and be successful in Southeast Texas, and you can.
Appreciate that. So, you guys do with Cardinal TV. That's what it's called, right?
LUTV.
LUTV. All right. So you guys do a lot of human interest pieces, and when you do the human interest pieces for your community involvement, do you just focus in on the students in your program, or do you reach out and try to find businesses that are around? Because I don't know the ins and outs of how you are able to work with businesses or other sort of private entities.
Well, we can't necessarily advertise because it's a government channel, or sorry, education channel. But again, it goes back to the students. I want them to find stories that they're interested in, and that gets them motivated to go out and tell those stories. Working with students, if they don't have an interest in it, it's hard to get them motivated.
Yeah,
So
I think what you bring a different perspective to this. It's the filmmaking side of things. That's your passion, I know, is making documentaries and films. Whereas we're, live streaming is really two different areas, but both of them fall under what we teach, and a lot of the techniques apply to both.
yes, all the skills are important, and then they can be carried to several different mediums.
Excellent. And I guess the last thing that I'm going to ask you, because it's apropos to this particular session of why live stream, is why, beyond what we've just talked about, why would we want to live stream, particularly in this area? And then in a larger sense, why would we live stream, especially, it seems like everyone's got a phone and they're always doing their thing on the phone. Why in particular would anyone in this entity want to live stream?
Well, you're extending your brand. Also, you have residents that are still connected with the communities that they come from. They're still interested in what's going on. So, for example, since KSHN is no longer in existence, people that are outside of Liberty County, if they want to know what's going on, there's not too many sources.
Yeah, and so you can see on the slideshow online and here, that's the thing. We call them grand fans. Every student has a grandparent that wants to see what they're doing,
Exactly.
get involved. So we stream. I know next week we're streaming the junior ring ceremony, getting their class rings, because you know people just want to see that. They want to see their kids, and what I think we're missing in what we do. And we had a junior high teacher. Um, it's the junior high parents that want to come to everything, and they'll buy everything you try to sell them because it's their baby's first time to get to do that, and that's a market we probably need to try to reach more as we grow our programs. But yeah, grandparents, the Booster Club, local businesses, and like you said, with the radio station uh, being gone, we have the community news source. If we do a weekly, last year we did a weekly talk show, news show to get the information out there. That's something we want to bring back and do some more with that.
All right, Gordon. I guess I said the last thing last time, so I really mean it this time.
No.
I feel like we're attached to the hip right now. As you get ready to go, and I know you're not able to stay with us all day long, the people that are watching online, the people that are here, and everyone that's going to be watching it in antiquity or whatever they're going to do, how can they utilize you, particularly as a resource?
Well, definitely email me at gswilliams@lamar.edu. You can also follow our social media if you look for LUTV News on all social media platforms. That's Lamar University, not Linwood University.
All right, thank you so much, Gordon, for joining us during this particular session. Yes.
You know if the university still waives out-of-state tuition for like within that 70-mile Louisiana?
I can find that out. My plan is to come back before 3 o'clock. So I can have that information hopefully for you when I return. Okay.
So the question was, in case we couldn't hear, is does Lamar waive the out-of-state tuition for the 70-mile, 60-mile, whatever radius that is? And specifically, you're from Louisiana and just right across the border. Okay, so that is actually a great question, and I'm sure that's something that you guys have to think about a lot because you are right on that line between Texas and Louisiana. Awesome. Any more questions for Gordon specifically before he has to jam out of here? Anyone online? Okay, and where's Mr. Perkins? Are you following that with the audio? Okay, perfect. All right, thank you very much. And you can stay here or you can go back to your seat or whatever. You make me look good, so maybe just stay right here. Okay, so trying to overcome some of our issues right now and moving through this particular slideshow with our community involvement, one of our big resources, and again, Texas is its own sort of monster, and if you aren't from Texas, it's really hard to explain how Texas operates differently from other states, particularly when it comes to football. And our particular program live streams our football games, and we live stream a number of other events and sports. And so when we think about our why, we always think about why can't we afford to do this, or why can't we afford to buy that? And so our why always has to come with some sort of monetary solution. And one of the things that we do to get our community involvement is we work very closely with our athletic booster club. And Mr. Bruce George, who's on that for us, has been amazing. And he rarely says no to us, which, finger crossed, I love that very much. We also have an education foundation through our school district. And again, I don't know if that's something that other states have, but they have been a great source for us. We wrote some grants, and they came back and they gave us a couple of huge grants to get some of the equipment that you can see here. We maintain a very, very good relationship with them. And in fact, when we live stream sports, my play-by-play partner, Ross Norwood, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here today, he's on that board. And so it's nice because he's kind of got his ear to the ground, so to speak, as to what they're looking for. And they're always looking for innovation, which is what we're doing. And so that's a wonderful way for us to involve.
Yeah, so the last thing, and what you kind of see where Joe's sitting right now, that's where we take our student pictures and portraits, and that has been a big source of funding for us in the AV/photography. I do yearbook as well. Um, we took over the school pictures. You know, no more Life Touch or whoever that company was, and
And so that it's sometimes when Richard and I are talking about this stuff, we have to always understand that we're kind of a unique sort of partnership, and we understand that not everyone, whether you're listening or whether you're here in person, has some of the resources that we have, because I do have a photography and filming background, and he's got the live stream and the build anything you want background. And
business. I teach business.
So we are able to do some things that other people don't necessarily do, but being able to take over the photography portion of the school has generated so much income for us, and we've been able to buy cameras and equipment and mics and just everything that you can think of. And I'm not going to say free money, because I'm the one that has to has to do a lot of that stuff, but it is not by the sweat of our brow. And we've got a number of students in the program, the photography program. They're now starting to take some of the load from me, and they can do a lot of the mass portion, and then I can just go in and tweak. And so it's turning into more of a well-ish oiled machine.
And again, who's our biggest patrons?
No, the middle school. And anytime you can live stream or do events for your middle school programs, feeder programs, or if you're an independent production company and you're trying to do something and you can kind of slide in there, that is the way to slide in, because it is just a great
and the kids see,
source.
and then they realize that they could be part of the program,
and yes, ma'am.
Funding, have you talked with your CTE director about Perkins funds? That's how we're funded. That's a big chunk of our support.
we do get some of our budget. Well, CTE comes from the weighted funding, and as far as a separate Perkins grant that they do apply for. This program is new. It's our third year. We started out with 0. We're trying to get there. The school in general has always been a huge, ag and FFA, and most of the CTE was in those areas. So business was here. We have law enforcement, but as far as the AV, it's all new. I mean, we're like some of you guys, starting on the ground and going from there. But we definitely, any place we can get funding is welcome.
And another big thing that we've used to offset some of the costs and help us with our why we live stream is the foundational relations that we have with other people throughout our school district and throughout all of our working zones. So for instance, later on when we go to tour our trailer, we didn't have to buy that because our school district already had a 24-foot trailer that they weren't utilizing really in any sort of capacity. And I just asked the question, hey, what are y'all doing with that? Nothing.
They did call me looking for it when they were wanting to move some chairs.
That's about all they did. They moved chairs for graduation. So we took that and we were able to get that turned into, and what I'm going to go out on a short limb and say you're going to be pretty impressed when you walk in and look at it. And I want you to picture in your mind's eye an empty 24-foot trailer that just had silver walls on the inside to what it's going to be when you walk in on that. So just asking around for stuff, and then when our radio station closed down, I just asked the question, hey, what are you going to do with that equipment that you got? And the owner said, well, I was going to sell it on eBay or
I think he was going to give it back to the 80s, actually.
So we don't use a bunch of it now, but when we first started, we would have been pretty dead in the water if we didn't have some of that equipment. So
we did get the microphones.
Yeah, the mics that we use for some of our other student productions, we use those still, and some of the mixing stuff we use if we're on the road and one of us aren't with them. So that's been a good source. And Sue, is there another slide?
Next we talk about equipment, I think.
Okay, so that's the next session, right?
Well, let me see where we're at time-wise.
Because we're at 9:47.
Yeah, it's time for our first break.
Okay, so we are going to take our first little bathroom break, and we'll be back for session 2 at 10 o'clock, and we're going to talk about equipment selection, and we'll let you guys get some hands-on with some of the equipment that we have in here, and kind of take a look at that more closely and ask some questions. So without further ado, we will take a break, and we'll be back at 10 o'clock.